Hi guys, this is Mike with Open It and Play, and I'm gonna do a 2023 Hall of Shame video. We're also gonna do a Hall of Fame video, but the Hall of Shame will come first this year. So, to start things out, I want to give some honorable mentions. Multiple man with a really old body and an old design for the costume. This is cool to get his old costume, but I think it would have been much better to re-release the old version of Multiple Man that everyone wants new versions of or copies of. So it would be great just to have more in our collection of the same type. The War Machine modular Iron Man repaint. That is not War Machine's armor. I know it is in the video game Marvel versus Capcom, but unfortunately it's just a lazy repaint of Iron Man's suit. It's from the sprite, maybe? They didn't want to make a new sprite, so... Okay, the Ant-Man wave. There's no good comic book Ant-Man featured, so this is a missed opportunity. The Super Adaptoid is really lazy reuse of an old Captain America 12-inch scale body. It can't even hold his weapons right. Goliath from the What If wave. What if they had done Goliath properly and given us a classic comic book Goliath of some type? Detroit Steel, another lazy repaint. This is the Iron Man, Ironmonger enemy repainted to look like Detroit Steel. The proportions don't match. And why are we getting Detroit Steel when we've not gotten a classic Titanium Man or classic Crimson Dynamo? Green Goblin from the animated series. This guy is really plain and they didn't quite get the head right. Six-armed Spider-Man with Morbius. Nobody wants this old version of the six-armed Spider-Man. I think this is probably just a waste of plastic, unfortunately. And finishing our honorable mentions is Kingpin, the TV show version, MCU version of Kingpin. He has an incredibly weird body that does not represent Kingpin. It's granted no one in real life has the Kingpin's body form like the comics, but the actor does have a great physical presence in the role, and they failed to capture that actor's likeness. So, okay, and now let's move on to the real Hall of Shame. No more honorable mentions. Let's get going. First we have our first character, Dr. Spectrum. Dr. Spectrum is an old Bucky Cap body. He does not have this little crystal that I put on. He simply has a splotch of white paint showing where his powers emanate from. I customized it with this dollar store sticker. And Dr. Spectrum is light-based, so he has a lot of cool effects for his powers, but unfortunately we just get these old effects repurposed. Another missed opportunity for creating effects. Okay, and we've got next is the most disappointing Build-A-Figure of this year. This is Puff Adder from the Puff Adder wave. I've used a Gundam marker to trace the outline where Hasbro failed to paint him to make him look similar to the comics. He does have a good head sculpt, but unfortunately this also suffers from a lack of paint. So same problem. Hasbro has a really big problem with painting figures. Next, let's take a look at Egghead. Egghead is a very welcome figure for me, along with Molecule Man behind him over there, behind his shoulder. But unfortunately, this is not Egghead's build. The head sculpt is good, but this is not the build of this character. The only good part is we can reuse this body, perhaps for like a Hank Pym himself or some other characters. We can use this as like a scientist lab coat body. Next is Avalanche. Avalanche, one of the missing figures from Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. They gave him a very blasé head which is kind of boring. He doesn't look happy, but he also doesn't look fierce or scary. There's no paint on this entire body, only the head, and there's no effects with the figure. Again, another great opportunity to do something to make shockwave effects, but they failed to do it. Next we have Molecule Man. Like I said, as with Egghead, I was wanting this figure, but unfortunately they've done him dirty. He's completely the wrong proportions. He should be short. He should not look like a member of a boy band. And he should be really quite ugly and scary looking. So it's sort of like the Super 7 Ratman sexy Rat King fiasco. Nobody wants their Rat King looking like a boy band member. We want the old nasty scary guy. Next is kind of a weird selection, but the Tracksuit Mafia. I chose this figure to highlight Hasbro's poor quality control. They have opted to give me this for his hands. It's very much appreciated, Hasbro. The store that I got this from had no other of this character in stock, so unfortunately I can't trade it out for another. I'll just do something to replace the hand because I did want this masked head for making thugs. It's going to make for a great robber, but the Tracksuit Mafia came with a lot of good extras, but unfortunately they dropped the ball on the quality control, and this figure is going to represent that for the entire year of 2023 in this Hall of Shame collection. Up next is Chad. Chad has the problem. Chad in the comics is almost always depicted as having 4 fingers on each hand, and they've sculpted new hands and given him 5 fingers. This is a huge mistake, and they've also opted to continue using this old body. It would have been better if they would have replaced this thigh with a longer one that would actually make him to scale properly with the size that Chad should be. Chode, not Choda. Okay, and at the back we have the Rose. The Rose is a Spider-Man villain. He is Kingpin's son. He's got a lot to prove, and he's a little guy, but they chose to give him a giant sausage-looking coat jacket. It was removed from mine because I did not like the look, so I just cut the side here and took it off of him. I pretend he's dressed with a neatly ironed shirt. I think this depicts the character much better than this oversized, childish looking guy. So I like this figure except for that jacket. Moving on to Luke Cage Power Man, another figure that many people wanted. We were really looking forward to this, but unfortunately we are let down by 3 things. There's no ab crunch. There is the ball joint for his torso, which is nice, but the boot cut does not exist. They had a perfect opportunity to give him a boot cut, like a swivel at the boot cut, but unfortunately these boots plug in on square pegs, so they're not able to turn. I think this was done intentionally so they can resell him to us in an Iron Fist 2-pack at a later date. That probably is coming this year, 2024. And the biggest problem with this figure for most people is his armpits are showing through his yellow jacket or his yellow shirt. They purposely cut this way too low, so it does not even come close to covering up his armpits. It does not look like it could be a real shirt, but some people have painted it, and I plan to do that with mine once I open him. Or I should say, once I get him out of the box. I did open that to get the Build-A-Figure piece out. Okay, and the final character for this compilation is Tarantula. Tarantula is on the old Sunfire body. Unfortunately, this is a really tired old body they're reusing again. This character is known for mixed martial arts skills, but we get no alternate hands. We only have the 2 punching fists. I suppose it's better than open palm fists for him, but he really needed some extra hands to display his fighting prowess. The only parts that are new are the feet with these points and his head. But with the head, they've failed to give him the proper color. In the comics, he's depicted as black. He does have blue highlights to show shadows or where light is falling, but that's the way it's depicted across his body. But instead, they've screwed it up and they've only given him a blue head and all other parts are black. Probably, again, on purpose, they're trying to resell him to us at a later date. Okay, I think I have to go. It's starting to snow here and I might have to cancel some lessons, so. Okay, thank you all for joining me for this Hall of Shame, and I hope to see you in the Hall of Shame. Let's flush these figures down the toilet together. Away we go!